Jayam. Namaskaram to all viewers of JyothirMaarg. Dear viewers, in the first and second episodes, we have narrated the births of Rishi Vedavyasa, Bhishma, Kuru Princess Chitrangada and Vichitravirya, and the next generation Kuru Princess Dhrutharashtra, Pandu and Vidura. Now let's continue. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayed. Harihi Om. Bhishma was on the lookout for suitable matches for Dhritarashtra and Pandu. From Brahmins who were always travelling, Bhishma heard about Princess Gandhari, daughter of the Gandhara king by name Suvala. Gandhari was a very virtuous and beautiful princess. Bhishma also learned that she had received a boon that she will be the mother of 100 sons. Thereafter, Bhishma sent messengers to the Gandhara king, who hesitated at first as Dhritarashtra was a blind prince. Later he agreed to this proposal after considering the name and fame of the Kuru dynasty. When Gandhari came to know about this, she blindfolded herself with a black cloth as an expression of her love and respect for her future husband. Later, her brother Shaguni brought her to Hastinapur, and then her marriage with Dhritarashtra was celebrated with great pomp and glory. Very soon, she gained the respect and admiration of the Kuru royalty for her great values, exemplary character, and dedication to her husband. Thereafter, Bhishma sent Gandhari's brother Shaguni back to his kingdom with endless gifts and riches. During this time, Yadava king Surya had a beautiful daughter by name Prudha. Kunti, another Yadava king, was a close friend and relative of King Surya. Kunti was without issues, and then Surya promised that he will give his firstborn daughter to Kunti. Accordingly, his daughter Prudha was given to Kunti. Later on, she came to be known as Kunti, as she grew up as the daughter of Kunti. Kunti had assigned the duty of taking care of the guests of the palace to Kunti. Then one day, the great Rishi Durvasa, who was of a very tough and rigid nature, came to visit Kunti. Kunti pleased Rishi Durvasa with a respectful behavior, patience, dedication and bhakti. That great Rishi Durvasa had foreseen what destiny had in store for Kunti. So, before leaving, the Rishi gave her a mantra with which she could invoke and summon any celestial to beget an offspring from that Deva or God. Later, when she was alone in her chamber, with the natural curiosity of a teenage girl, she chanted that mantra and invoked Surya Deva. The very next moment, bathed in golden radiance, that God, who is the life-giving force of all worlds, appeared in front of her in all his divine charm and grace, ready to fulfill her desire. But Kunti, realizing her mistake, requested Surya Deva to go back. Then Surya Deva replied to her like this: "O graceful princess, do not get frightened. This is written in your destiny. But fear not, just like no one can stop this now, no one will come to know about this and put you in any difficulty. I am aware of your receiving this mantra from Rishi Durvasa. He has given it to you because the time has come for you to give birth to one of the greatest heroes of all times. Please know that I am Amokha, meaning unstoppable, especially so because I have been invoked and summoned by the power of the mantra chanted by you. If you try to stop or waste this mantra without fulfilling its purpose, it will cause harm to you." That great God of gods stood in front of her like the Kamadeva himself, engulfed in divine beauty and fragrance. Even though he tried to convince her with truthful reasoning that chaste Princess Prudha did not give in, she went on pleading and requesting him not to harm her and to be kind enough to forgive her childish mistake. Then Surya Deva said like this: "O Princess, by virtue of my blessing, neither shall any harm befall you, nor shall you experience any pain or difficulty in your accomplishing this divine mission. This is my word and promise to you." Saying so, that Lord and God of all the worlds and the source of light, life and energy came closer, and then for a moment, Prudha got merged with his celestial radiance. The very next moment, Surya Deva rose to the skies and disappeared. With that divine union with the sun god, that maiden Princess Kunti gave birth to a son who resembled his father Surya Deva in appearance and radiance. As promised by Surya Deva, there was no hindrance and nobody came to know about that. That child had a golden armor protecting his body and celestial Karna kundalas, meaning ornaments of the ear. Like this, Karna was born to Surya Deva in Princess Kunti, who was actually the daughter of the Yadava king Shurasena and the adopted daughter of the Yadava king Kunti Bhoja. She was also the aunt of Lord Krishna. As promised by Surya Deva, Kunti still remained to be a virgin. After giving birth to Karna, that young princess Kunti now got frightened seeing the child to whom she had given birth. But the blessing of Surya Deva was with her. He made her to do what was destined to be done, and he made sure that she didn't face any obstacles. Accordingly, Kunti put that strong and heavy baby in a waterproof basket and disposed him in the flowing waters of the river adjacent to the palace. That basket and the baby were found by a childless charioteer. Charioteer means the one who drives a chariot or rath. He brought that child home and gave to his wife Radha. Very much surprised by the Vasu, meaning the Kavach and Kundala which were merged to his body, they named him Vasushena and brought him up with a lot of love and care. That strong-bodied boy worshipped the sun every day for a very long time and became very brave and wise. And he grew up learning all Shastras and became an expert in the use of bow and arrows. At that time, when he would stand there after his worshipping the sun god, he would give away anything that he had to the Brahmins on their asking. That Karna, who had already been renowned by then, thereafter became famous as Vaikartana because of his Dan Dharma. Later, during an auspicious time of the year, Kunti Bhoja made preparations for Kunti's Swayamvara and sent invitations to all kings. Kunti was now in the prime of her youth, beautiful like a goddess, and her name and fame had spread far and wide. On the day of the Swayamvara, Kunti, in all her charm and grace, walked slowly with a garland in her hand, accompanied by beautiful maids. Almost all kings of Aryavartam were present there. The maids explained to her each king's name and the details of his kingdom and dynasty, and about the battles each of them had won. Then there she saw among them that lion among kings, the Kuru prince Pandu, like the sun outshining all other stars. Approaching that well-built and handsome prince of the Kuru race, she put that garland on his neck and accepted him as her husband. King Kunti Bhoja then celebrated his daughter's marriage in a very grand and royal manner and donated unlimited wealth to all the people. Thereafter, Kunti Bhoja sent Pandu and Kunti to Hastinapur with endless wealth and gifts and presents, and accompanied by flagged chariots and a large battalion of army. In Hastinapur, Kunti very soon gained the love and respect of the royalty as well as everyone else. Pandu and Kunti lived like Devendra and Saji Devi. Listening to the advice of the ministers and other members of the court, Bhishma decided that Pandu should have one more wife, who will be another rightful match for him like Kunti. After a lot of consideration, Bhishma finally selected the very beautiful and well-groomed princess of the Madra kingdom and the sister of the Madra king Shalya. Aware of the Madra tradition, Bhishma took with him large quantities of gold, diamonds, jewellery, including pearls and corals, and other gifts like elephants, horses, chariots, and clothes and garments. Madra king Shalya was more than happy to agree to a matrimonial alliance with the Kuru dynasty. Accordingly, Shalya accepted all those gifts from Bhishma. And then, on an auspicious day and time, Shalya handed over his beautiful sister Madri, dressed and decorated in the very best manner in accordance with their royalty. For his brother son Pandu, Bhishma respectfully accepted that Princess Madri, who looked beautiful like a goddess. And then returning to Hastinapur, Bhishma got her married to Pandu in a very rightful manner according to the Kuru customs and traditions. After his marriage with Madri, Pandu spent 1 month happily with his 2 queens. Thereafter, that tiger among kings set off on a mission of DigVijaya, meaning conquering all enemy kings and annexing their kingdoms. One after another, Pandu then defeated and annexed the Dasharna kingdom, Magadha, Mithila, Kashi, Subra, and Pundra. Most of those kings opted not to fight against that great warrior King Pandu and his huge and massive army. Instead, they signed treaties accepting Kuru supremacy. They paid huge ransom and endless wealth and valuables of gold, jewellery, satin clothes, bed sheets, blankets, and deerskin, along with the best of cows, horses, elephants, camels, buffaloes, donkeys, and goats. Pandu amassed so much of wealth that finally it became impossible to assess and keep count of their numbers. And so, Pandu stopped accepting more of such gifts, as it was also an enormous task to transport them to Hastinapur. Finally, he arrived back with a huge and unending procession of chariots and containers carrying all those valuables and uncountable number of very healthy and good-looking cattle, horses and elephants. Hearing about the successful return of Pandu, Bhishma and the citizens of Hastinapur went far off from their capital city and waited to welcome that great hero, to hail him and to accompany him back to the palace. They couldn't find an end to the procession that followed Pandu, carrying the wealth that he had amassed. On arrival, Pandu touched Bhishma's feet in respect, and Bhishma, with tears flowing down, embraced him in happiness. As per Dhritarashtra's advice, the unimaginable wealth that he had brought with him by virtue of his might and valor was all dedicated at the feet of Bhishma and Satyavati. Thereafter, it was given to Ambika, Ambaliga, and Dhrutarashtra and Vidura. Finally, after keeping whatever little they all wanted, the rest of it was distributed among the citizens of the Kuru kingdom. Afterwards, several great yagas and sacrifices equal to the great Ashwamedha yaga were also performed by those Kurus. After all this were over, Pandu left for the forest along with Kunti and Madri. Pandu spent his time in hunting and dwelling in the beautiful and enchanting southern slopes and valleys of the great Himalayas. Pandu was tall and well-built, handsome, brave and valorous, and he was wearing a golden armor and carried sword, bow and arrows. Looking like a celestial and fearlessly dwelling the thick Himalayan forest with two divine beauties, the inhabitants of the forest mistook him for a god with his celestial consorts. Bhishma always kept track of Pandu and ensured that fresh food of their preferences reached them through fast carriers from the palace during day and night. While Pandu was thus spending time happily with his wives in the beauty of the evergreen valleys and forests and the vast expanses of the Himalayas, Bhishma was considering marriage options for Vidura. Bhishma came to know that the king by name Devaka had a very virtuous and beautiful daughter born in a Shudra woman. Bhishma then approached King Devaka and requested that he may give his daughter in marriage to the learned and pious Vidura, to which that king agreed happily. Thus Vidura was married to King Devaka's daughter, and she lived happily with Vidura, in due course giving birth to his children. Back to the Himalayas. While Pandu was dwelling in the Himalayan forest, he saw a deer and its female in the act of making love with each other. As it had been written in destiny, without any second thoughts, Pandu felled them both with 5 sharp arrows. That deer was a very learned and pious Rishi who had taken up the form of the deer to enjoy life in the forest along with his spouse. Fatally wounded, that Rishi fell down and before dying spoke like this in a very sorrowful tone, accusing Pandu of his wrong action. The Rishi said, "There are so many people in this world who are bent on doing that what is not right. But you should not have been one among them. You are the descendant of a great and renowned race which is famous for its adherence to dharma. Even those people who do not have a lineage like yours and those people who do not tread the path of dharma will not commit wicked acts like what you have done now." Even after listening to the truthful words of that dying Rishi, Pandu was not ready to accept his mistake or to beg forgiveness. Instead, he went on arguing that hunting and killing animals when their population is very much in excess or being a threat to human life is approved by his Raj Dharma and Niti. The Rishi replied that hunting animals like what the king said is not a mistake, but killing 2 animals at an inappropriate time like what he did now is a mistake and paap which will not be forgiven. The Rishi said, "O great king, born in the famed Kuruvamsha, this is not becoming of you, who took birth in that race of great souls, who never caused any harm to any of the creations of God. You have committed such a mahapap which is not in adherence with any shastra or dharma. It will destroy all your name, fame and reputation, and also will deny your entry into the heavens. I am a Rishi by name Kindama, possessing ascetic merits. Since you are causing my death without being aware that I am a Brahmin, you will not be subjected to the Brahmahatya paap. O senseless and foolish king, As I am dying at this time when I was enjoying heavenly bliss, you will also die in a similar manner at a similar time, and your spouse will also follow you to that nether world. So saying, that Rishi passed away in great pain and agony. നാരായണം നമസ്കൃത്യ നരം ചൈവ നരോത്തമം ദേവീം സരസ്വതീം വ്യാസം തതോ ജയമുദീരയേത്. ഹരിഃ ഓം. Thus ends the third chapter of our summarized rendering of Rishi Vedavyasa's timeless epic Mahabharata. If you liked this episode, please subscribe to our channel, like this video and write a comment. And also, please touch on the bell icon so that you will be notified when new videos are uploaded. Thank you.